Greetings and welcome back to another Photoshop-tastic episode of the Vodkast. I'm your host as always, Geycen Oliveira. With us today is nothing again. So we're going to do an non-AI video. This is not an AI video. Why did I say AI? This is going to be a create your own cool thumbnail video if you have Photoshop. If you have Photoshop, you probably already know all the tricks and how to do this. But let me show you this picture for starters. This is an image I use for most of my social media stuff. And so, you know what's weird? I got to fix something. Something's not right there. All right, that's a little bit better. This is something I did. If you look at it, it's got a bit of a watercolor look to it, cartoony look to it, and that was something I was looking to do a while back with High from Space and creating our thumbnail. So the first step of this three-step process is I'm going to show you how to create that type of an image to make it look that way, because it's a little bit more complicated than you would think. It's not as straightforward as just using a filter and you're done. There's a lot of filtering going on, but you got to remove your subject from the background, and the best way to do that, we're going to start with right here. And I have chosen this image for us to work with. Hello? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I just thought it'd be a fun one to do. We are going to do a little bit of AI because I want a little bit more of me in the shot here. So for starters, let's just go and get that out of the way, and hopefully that doesn't take too long. And while that does its thing, if you guys are loving watching the stuff that I'm creating as much as I love creating the stuff that you guys are watching, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would be a huge help to me. I'm on the road to 1,000. I'd love to get there by the end of the year, and the numbers keep creeping up more and more. I get these little jumps. So if you guys could help out and share this with a friend and make sure you're subscribed, and if you want to get new notifications, hit the little bell icon and it'll let y'all know that fun stuff. Okay, you know what? I am very, very happy. Oh, that's interesting. They went back to 3 results. There was an update with the beta version of Photoshop where they were doing 4 thumbnails that you could choose from, which I preferred. The more thumbnails, the better, because then I don't have to generate more. I'm going to go with the very first one and it came up with. There are some things about it I don't like, but I love the tattoo in it, so I'm going to stick with this one, and we'll move on to phase 1. Normally, if you have an image that you want to do this with, you wouldn't need to use AI to expand anything. You're going to start with your magic wand tool. That's right. You can click on that. You're going to come over here. Now, you can go down here. There is a way to allow AI to just do it for you, but I have found that using it this way by going to select subject, choose the cloud, and then select subject does a much better job than when you let AI handle it. All right, it's selected the subject, and now we're going to go in and fine detail it here. So as you can see up here, it didn't really pick up the fact that the gray of the curtain, it's really close in tone, so I could see how it wouldn't get that. But there's a simple tool for getting rid of some of this, and sometimes it works great. Other times, not so much. It's this little one right here, the Refine Edge Brush Tool. So you just come in and you kind of pick up the grays that you want to get out. I'm not going to keep you through this whole process, but you'll see more red appear as the gray kind of disappears. And the red is just a representation of showing, the stuff that won't be in the picture. So this is a big chunk here, and a big chunk there. Here a chunk, there a chunk, everywhere a chunk. Ooh, yeah. Carving out a so much better, leave a mark upon that letter. Change is what she said to me. I woke up. All right, and this is always the moment of truth where you got to go back and do it again, or it does it really good. And what I always start by doing is hit Control-J. That'll create a layer of your selection. Get rid of the old selection, and now you see what you're left with. Now, there are ways you could clean this up if you wanted to go in and erase this, but this is a little bit better representation. So whatever's in the background is going to come through those little areas, that negative space that you see in the hair and throughout the body. So the next step is you have to make sure that your image size is set to 300 DPI, and then you can set the pixel width. I go with 2400. There's actually a video that I learned this from myself, and I will link it in the comments below so he can get the proper credit that he deserves here. And I've made some tweaks to the way that I do it that he doesn't do it, that things are a little different anyway. So I just prefer it my way. I think I am going to go in and clean up a little bit of that hair, though. It's going to drive me batty, so doesn't need to be really perfect here. Like I said, this is going to be turned into an image that looks like a painting or a cartoonish type figure. And there you go. So there is the gentleman in question. Did he do it? Didn't he do it, folks? I don't know. What am I talking about? Okay. At this time, I like to go in and I like to tweak the color and the sharpness, the brightness, the contrast of the image. I will fast forward through all of this because you can tweak an image. You don't need to tweak an image, but I prefer it a certain way. So here I go. Wish me luck. After I get my tone and my color the way where I want it, actually I want to tweak this just a little bit. I want to bring up the exposure on this. When you get the high contrast areas, that's where the definition really stands out on the image that you create. So you don't want it to be too much over the top, but you know, let it define it a little bit. And that's when we have to turn this now into, I like to create a backup copy nonetheless. Hide the other copy, you don't want to see that, and then turn this into a smart object. So now everything you do on this project you can undo just on that level alone. You don't have to go back through the history. It's fantastic. It was a new thing I think that they added. I don't know when the hell they added it. Next, I sharpen the image. I just use a smart sharpen. I should probably tell you guys okay, so I set the amount to 200% and the radius to 2.0 and noise reduction to 10%, lens blur, remove blah, blah, blah. You can see it on the screen. And then what it does is it really sharpens the whites and the blacks, I think. It really makes it pop a little bit more. I'm still not loving the color, but we're going to go with this for now. So I usually do smart sharpen before I turn it into a smart layer, but it doesn't really matter either way. Now I have more control over it. So phase one of this whole process of creating the cartoon, after you've gotten to this stage, this is where it really begins. This is where you're going to want to pay attention. You're going to go to filter. You're going to go to liquefy, and the more dramatic you make this, the better it looks in the long run. However, if you're looking to just make a thumbnail and accentuate, that's not the word I'm looking for, whatever it is, if you want to just, bring out your eyes a little bit, there we go. I like to set the eyes at the same size, because if you set one a little bit too big, the other a little too small, it looks a little funky. This looks good. This is my natural ability just increased a little bit. Oh, that's new. There's actually neural filters that will do the same thing, but I think manually doing it is a lot more fun. And like I said, the more dramatic, you can see how it popped there from the old photo to the new photo, how it just makes a little bit of a difference. So your next step is filter gallery. Which fucking one are we on? Poster edges. You want poster edges, not positize. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anywho, grab that one, and the first one's going to be 0, 0, 2, tab, enter. Makes your life easier rather than having to use the mouse. And you can see it's kind of done its thing. Now we're going to go in here. We have done the filter gallery. We're going to sharpen it a little bit. We're going to use an unsharp mask at amount 90, radius 1, and a threshold of 10. Enter. Okay, now we're going to go ahead, and this is when things start to really come together, is when you're going to choose stylize, filter stylize, and then you're going to go down to oil paint. I usually start these at 6 and a 5, and that is beautiful. It smooths everything out, and it gives it that look I'm looking for. And now it's just icing on the cake. Everything you add at this point on is it just makes it all better. So go back to unsharpened mask, put that at 60, and then 5 for the threshold, enter, and then that layer is done. Hit Control J. I know there's an easier way to do this, and if you could let me know in the comments below, it would save me a lot of time. You have to turn off all the filters except for liquefy. So, well, you can leave anything else you chose to do before liquefy on there as well. Then you're going to go back up and almost repeat the process, except there's a few little details, and this is where I had to watch the video several times. So the second round on the layer above it, it's going to be 2, 1, 6 for your edge thickness, your intensity, and your positivization. There it is. Posterization, I guess it is. And then there you go. It sharpens up. This one now you can see there's a little bit more grit and grain in here, whereas the last one was a little bit less of that. It just kind of defined the tones of the image itself and the light value. All right. Filter gallery. What the hell am I doing? I got to talking. Sharpen. Unsharp mask. Here on out, you just leave it 60 and 5. Hit OK. Filter. Stylize. You got it. oil painting, boom, enter, filter, sharpen. It's just almost a repeated process of things that keep happening over and over again, but it's critical to it all. So, oh, did I already do that? Yeah. Right. Oh, no, I hadn't done that. Okay. And the last sharpen right there. And now is where things start to get wacky. You're going to turn this layer into an overlay. And you're thinking, Jay, that looks fucking awful. You're stupid. Why would you do that? Well, because I haven't set the opacity yet. Meanie face. Okay, I like to start around 35 or 40. I think that works, 35. You can see, so let me take this layer off so you can see what it looks like without it, with it. And that's just, you're seeing basically 35% of the image through to the one below it. Now, here's a fun little keyboard shortcut. Control Alt Shift. I can't do it without just doing it. Is it E? Yes. Control Alt Shift E creates a new layer of all the combined layers and puts it on top. Now we're really going to fuck it up. Filters, other, high pass. I like 4. I've seen people do 2, but I like to stick with 4. It just defines a little bit. After that, Control Shift U will desaturate it, taking all your color out. Some people have said that it causes problems. I've never had a problem with it, but I just do it now because it's habit. And also turn this into an overlay. And this just, oh, there's the butter. Oh, there's the butter. Oh. Just set that at about 85 to 90%, and you're done. Here's a little tip for you guys. I don't know if anybody does this other than me or not, but I like to name everything, like all my folders inside of the original folder, G. That way if I need to search for it, I can do a G folder search, and I'll bring up all the G folders, and I'll see the dates, and I'll know what I'm looking for. And then I just want to save it again now as a PNG, because a PNG will keep the transparency of the background and allow me to put myself wherever the fuck I want to be now. So this is phase 1. This is part 1 of all of this. Part 2 is we're going to figure out a background, figure out how it works in the background, make colors and light and everything work together. I hope you loved this part of the episode, and I hope you come back to check out part 2. And if you guys are loving this stuff, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and then hit that little bell icon because it'll let you know every time I put out a new video. Don't forget to make somebody smile today and make yourself a better person tomorrow than you were today. Tomorrow. Let's make the world spin a little bit happier and nuttier together. Let's sing and dance in the sun and in the rain as one, my brothers and sisters. Live life to the fullest and love every moment of it, because you just never know when that last moment's going to come for you. However, I got to stop doing that. Never live in fear of that moment. Always live in love, and never let your inner child die. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and take care of those around you who cannot take care of themselves, for they are the ones that need it the most. And if no one has told you today that they love you, the Vodcast loves you very much, just the way you are. All right, guys, I'm Geycen Oliveira. This is the Vodcast, and I'll catch you guys a little bit further on down the road. Take care, everybody.